Hi, I started this YouTube channel back in 2008. That was about 17 years ago, just a little over 17 years ago. And through all that time, I was posting videos about art, music, memory and stories, illustration, tutorials, outdoor nature, even minimizing. Even had my own viral version of a video taking off, at least outperforming my other videos, and that was a video about growing a walrus-style mustache. So instead of a video saying how I got monetized in 4 weeks or 8 weeks or 12 weeks, this is a video saying how not to get monetized after 17 years on YouTube. And I may be unusually qualified to talk about this. I made things that I really cared about, that had value, but I think I was missing a clear message. If you're a little too scattered in your passions and your creativity and your interest, it doesn't give the viewer a concrete, solid pathway of what they're going to expect in the next video. For the YouTube algorithm, it's not going to understand who you are and what your message is, so it has a tougher time showing it to the people that might actually be interested in your content. So looking back, I see those patterns, and maybe the recognition of those patterns is the main story here. And I hope that what I've learned over all this time and what I'll be doing going forward will help you if you're starting a channel or if you're working to get monetized, if you're looking for your own clear message. And that's the thing, we all have to do what's unique to us and giving our own message. So I hope this has purpose for you, and you can see from the mistakes I've made what things you might want to avoid, especially after 17 years. So we'll go from there. So I broke this down into 10 tips, 10 things I did that really held me back from ever having my channel grow, reaching the amount of people I wanted to reach, or ever becoming monetized. And this is going to be a numbered list, so I believe there's 10 things. Maybe there'll be a bonus at the end of the 10. I'm sure I'll keep talking on. This is number 1, inconsistency. I mentioned before I posted about my music, and that's how this channel started early on, back in the end of 2008. It was just uploading my songs, recording my music, playing guitar in front of the camera, and uploading them so they had a place to live. I had a lot of videos about doing art illustrations. I moved into some decluttering, which was and is an important part of my life. I did nature videos, reflective videos, philosophical ones, and I talk about myself in one of the videos about neurodiversity, and another one that I never expected would do well at all was tips on eating and drinking with a walrus-style mustache, and that was my highest performing video. The second highest was the one on my neurodiversity, and I'll put a link in the description for the one on my neurodiversity if you want to know a little bit more about how I communicate, how I process, and how I think. Along with the inconsistencies of content, there was an inconsistency of posting. If you go back to 2008, there were times in between where I maybe didn't post for 6 months, or I didn't post a video for a year or 2 years, and then I would go on this spurt of posting videos, not very consistently, but maybe one every few weeks or one every month or so. That again confuses people, and as well as confusing the algorithm on YouTube. Neither knows if or when your next video is going to happen. When you're inactive for too long, they may assume you've just stopped posting and they won't see you again. So there has to be a consistency. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same day of the week or weekly. If you can do that, if you can adhere to a rhythm of posting a video once every week and around the same time, that's great. I think the first thing is to realize, not be inconsistent, to not go back and forth, not have long gaps of time between videos. That doesn't help the channel be seen by those who might be interested in seeing what you want to speak of. Number 2, and we might have touched on this before, I made videos about too many unrelated things. Again, the music, the art tutorial illustrations, gnomes, the ocean, decluttering, how my neurodivergent mind thinks and sees, and they are all part of my world. they're unclear entryways into the world. If someone's interested in an art tutorial illustration and they tune in for that, and then you do one about decluttering, that may not be their interest. So the focus starts becoming confusing to them. YouTube algorithms love very tight niche topics, and some channels do very well with that. Even if you think there wouldn't be a lot of interest out there, it works well for some people. Depending what that niche market is and how the person presents them, those channels can do really well. If it's a scattered channel about hairdressing and makeup tips one week, and then budgeting another week, and then how to live simplistically, and then a video about skydiving and doing jumping jacks, it's never going to be a clear signal. So that's exaggerated, but it gives you an idea of these were some of the things that can go wrong with channels if you're too inconsistent with your core message. Number 3 was I made titles that were too vague or too poetic. If the message isn't clear in your title, people who are scrolling through, and they're scrolling through a lot of videos, not one video will catch them if they don't know what the subject is really about. If it's too poetic and not direct enough, they're not going to know, how is this going to benefit me? What will I learn from this video? It doesn't need to have a hook in it. It doesn't need to not be faithful to what the message will be inside. But it needs for the person who's scrolling to see the title and say, that's what I'm going to get from that video. Whether it's an art tutorial or budgeting or finances, they need to know that in the title. You've only got so many words and one thumbnail image that you can really get people's attention. So the poetic message can live inside the video, but the title has to be the doorway that lets them in and lets them know what they're entering. Number 4, I spent too much time on videos with a narrow appeal. There were times when I was spending countless hours, maybe doing a video tutorial on a pet portrait, and all the hours I was recording of that, and for example, a pet portrait might have taken me 20 hours, and I was recording much of that process, so maybe 10 hours, and then I was having to clip it down to something reasonable, maybe a 10 or 20 minute video. So I was speeding most of it up. I was clipping out a lot of the parts that were too redundant. I was working on a voiceover, and sometimes I'd have to go over that through several steps. And there were times I probably spent 4 to 8 hours just editing down a video that I've been recording over the past several weeks. And then I would do the thumbnail, and I would do a title, and I would be excited, and I would post it, and the amount of views was a fraction of what I had hoped for. So effort towards making a video and audience interest are two separate things. The more time and effort you put into a production and to make a video and polish it and do it perfectly, and the editing that you might spend on it does not necessarily translate to it's going to get a lot more views. As a matter of fact, some of the videos I've made that were much, much quicker to make have so many more views, 10 times, 50 times more than the ones I labored over. Keeping it more simplistic is sometimes a better path. Number 5, I didn't study the clues closely enough. Some videos gave clear signals. I did one on seeing time feeling different, how being on the autism spectrum and having spatial sequence synesthesia affects how I go through daily life. That really resonated with people, not just in the view count. It's my second highest viewed video. The ratio of the reactions and the comments to it, and how there was a lesson in there. And many of the videos I thought would work or have greater appeal didn't. So I wasn't really seeing the numbers. I wasn't observing what people were responding to. I was seeing it, but not really applying that and continuing to make videos as I felt as a creative, what was moving me at the moment, but it wasn't really reaching the people that it needed to reach. And number 6, I forgot that the viewer needs a reason to click. The video is not necessarily going to give them enough clue, even if the title is clear. Is it something that resonates with them? Is it meaningful to me, but not meaningful for someone else? A viewer isn't inside my life. They don't know about the old photographs, the water, the memory, and the story. I need to build that bridge from where they're at, curious, looking for something specific, and I need to build that bridge more clearly of, in this video, this is what you'll learn, this is what you'll understand, this is how you'll see what I'm doing to apply it to my life, and hopefully you'll apply it to yours. It's like my life might be the evidence, but their life is why, because it has to apply to the person you're speaking to and speaking with. And number 7, I built a scrapbook instead of a channel promise. The channel became a collection of creativity and work that was meaningful to me, but it wasn't a clear invitation to a viewer. A viewer needs a clear direction and a promise. What is this place? What does it mean for me? And that will help invite them in so they can learn what they're curious about. And number 8, I tried to document everything instead of focusing on what connects. If I made something, I saw something, I was creating something or excited about it, I would often make a video about it and then post it. It may not have been closely related to my previous video or 5 videos before, but it was an honest, true creation or experience I was going through and wanted to share with everyone. Not everyone's going to understand how that's related. So there was a message that I should have seen a long time ago in doing that. It's important to distinguish that documentation is not the same as communication. So when you've got an idea, it's valid, but you don't need to make a video on it and post it and hope that people will find it and experience it the way you did. Number 9 was I avoided being on camera too much. A couple of videos that did well, I was on camera. When I was doing the decluttering and downsizing, organizing, I was on camera quite a bit. But not every video was, especially as I got more into observing nature and videos with art process, which was mostly seeing the piece come together. You're not really going to see or interact with the artist that way, and that's fine. But again, does that have the consistency? Is that the understanding of the doorway? And I think it just toggled back and forth where I did one or the other. And I think that bouncing back and forth, like a pinball in a pinball machine, even it's within the same pinball machine, you don't know where the ball's going to go because it can bounce from one thing to another within that scope. So yes, within my creative and world of interest, I was contained in that one thing. I wasn't really jumping outside of that. But it was varied enough where I think it was creating a signal of confusion for people to not know what the channel direction and consistent message would be for them. And what's changing, what I'm changing in these videos going forward, there's going to be more on-camera presence. There are going to be practical tips and things, and there are going to be a focus for creative people, and there's a focus for entering a stage in our lives beyond 60 where we become focused in our creative work, maybe work that was put off for many years, maybe work that we'd hope to do one day or continue to do, and that's what the channel is going to be centered on. So there will be about my perceptions, but we will be exploring this together, going into the age of 60 and heading towards retirement ages. And number 10, I waited too long to define the center, the central theme of this channel, the central theme of what I was trying to show. I would get excited about a new piece I was working on, or a new adventure, or discovering downsizing. That was all valid, but it was struggling to reach people consistently. So I felt I had too much to share, not too little. It wasn't a lack of ideas, it was trying to pursue many ideas. And without structure, abundance can look like confusion. Though there is no confusion, it appears that way to people or to a YouTube algorithm, especially for a neurodivergent mind with many ideas and many pathways. I was doing YouTube with too many ideas and not enough clear direction. So what I'm changing is building a creative life after age 60. So for concluding this, maybe it's a pattern recognition story, and I can see the pattern more clearly now. After 17 years, I hope I can see the pattern clearly. There's a lot of data to work from and to observe. And I still value all the old videos, the music, the family storytelling videos, and those will all be a part of the future videos. The channel's not changing. I'm not becoming a technology channel or a finance channel. It's just going to be more focused on this creative life that I've had as I now go into my 60s. So I'm hoping people can find that and know what to expect within that more focused bucket or more focused pinball machine analogy. So yes, I'm building a more intentional creative life after age 60. One with room for illustration, my neurodiversity, nature, simplifying, and having a creative pathway that is a pathway that we can all choose to go down if that's the direction that we want to go. So if you're an artist, writer, an older creative, a longtime YouTuber, if you enjoy nature, if you're an overthinker, or someone who enjoys creating meaningful work, I hope this channel will be an invitation for you to come in, listen, have a seat, share your experiences, be inspired, and share your thoughts. Just know you don't have to fix everything at once. You don't have to build the future in one setting. It's taking this simple and one step at a time. I'd love to hear what you're making room for in your life. And if this video resonates with you, I hope you'll consider subscribing. More videos will be coming based around art, neurodivergent perspective, creativity in general, writing, and basically pursuing a more creative life after age 60. One of the things I didn't always do, especially in my earliest videos, was asking people to subscribe or to engage, comment, like, share your thoughts. If you put that at the end of a video, the chances of someone seeing your video to the very end is pretty slim. There's a drop-off ratio. It could be 20% of your video, 50%, 70%, and then they might stop it or click off, or they'll be distracted and they'll never get to the end. You don't need to shout it out. You don't need to beg people to subscribe, like, watch, share, or any of those. And you don't even have to mention that. And I wasn't mentioning it, but I saw other YouTube creators who were bringing up this point that if you're not asking, people may have wanted to subscribe and they just forgot. And because you didn't have a reminder early on in the video may have passed, and then they'd say, oh, who's that person I was listening to? And oh, I wanted to catch their channel and subscribe, but now it's gone and I don't know how to find what I watched 2 days ago or an hour ago. So it can be subtle, but just asking people to subscribe, like the content, or leave a comment and maybe share what experiences or thoughts they have is pretty important, because I think if you're not doing that, it's not going to be visible to people. And YouTube works off of algorithms, and the algorithms are set that if people don't like, watch, share, or respond, YouTube will not show it. They won't show people the thumbnail. It'll be such a small margin, if any margin. YouTube wants to make sure people are engaged, interested, and interacting, and that's with subscribing, liking, commenting. And if they're not doing that, it's not that you made the video wrong. YouTube's algorithms and mechanism assumes people aren't interested, so if they show it to other people, those people wouldn't be interested. And that's why some videos go viral, because once it starts picking up, it's kind of like an analogy of a snowball rolling downhill, picking up speed and more snow and getting bigger as it goes down. And the bigger and faster it gets, it continues on that track. So sometimes people say, I had a breakout video, I don't know why I got this, I'm grateful, but it got 1,000,000 views and none of my other videos got 1,000,000 views. Well, it was hitting the right people at the right time, and YouTube has a lot to do with creating that, because then they will show it possibly exponentially to more people. They'll test it out, and if the response is better than the algorithms expected, they'll show it to more people, and if those people respond, it keeps growing, again, like that snowball analogy. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this gives you some reasons not to make the same mistakes that I have made over the past 17 years, and stick along in this journey and make your own journey. And this is all a community where we all can observe, listen, watch, and enjoy this phase of our lives, and growing together and being vibrant and creative and knowing that what we do has meaning. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you very soon.